Hi, I'm Stephen Feinberg, Executive Director of the Rhode Island Film and Television Office. Our guest tonight, Tommy DiNucci, a Cranston, Rhode Island filmmaker who studied at New England Tech and is now the president of Woodhaven Media. Buddy, you've been very busy. I mean, you've been doing acting. I know you were in Los Angeles doing a action piece with Dolph Lundgren called Altitude. You just directed a movie called Arlo about a burping pig. But I want to talk a little bit about your past, too. You did a movie. You started from the ground up and worked your way up to writing and directing, including a film that I thought was wonderful called Almost Mercy.
Yeah, Almost Mercy is a film that's certainly gaining some legs, as they say, over time. It's a movie that people are starting to gravitate more and more to. And I think a lot of that has to do with, unfortunately, some of the things that are kind of happening in the news and in the headlines and these awful, tragic things that we wake up to every morning and we read about. Almost Mercy is, in a way, a cautionary tale about a guy and a girl who kind of grow up with dysfunctional families, but, you know, one's from the good part of town, one's from the bad part of town, but of course, they kind of grow together due to kind of all the stuff they have to deal with. And it comes down to making a choice whether they want to do something extreme to lash out at the people that kind of wrong them, or if they want to handle it in their own way, in a different way. So I think the fact that there's a lot of things happening in the headlines, it's making this a really kind of a prevalent movie at this point.
And you co-wrote that, you directed it, and I think you discovered some wonderful talent with that. And it's now on Netflix, and it's doing really well, right?
You can check it out right now on Netflix. All you got to do is search Almost Mercy, and it'll come up there, and you can watch it. And yeah, it was a great chance to work with a lot of young, eager people on both sides of the camera. I co-wrote that with B. Dolan. My cinematographer was Sam Eilertson. My first AD was John Schermerhorn, who's a really, kind of a vet who's been on a lot of sets. And, it was just a great time for us to all come together. John Del Ponte did great production design, and we did a lot with a little.
It was the Rhode Islanders coming together to make something special, and I'm glad you're getting recognition for that. And then you're also working on a project. Let's talk about Slimebuck a little bit, because I think that's a special story, how that all came about.
Yeah, Slimebuck is a very personal piece for me. You hear the term passion piece thrown out there a lot, but this really is, in the sense that it's not something that I kind of meant to do. It's something that kind of dropped into my life, and I kind of got involved. A friend of mine that I went to high school with ended up kind of calling on my services to help with a screenplay, to give him some notes. And he'd been stricken with muscular dystrophy and battling it for a long, long time. So, to be honest with you, I felt really bad for the guy, and I said, geez, I can't imagine being in that condition and wanting to make films.
And he loved
having
horror movies,
yeah, he just had such a love for film, and specifically horror movies. So I went to see him that day, and we worked on the script. I really liked the script. I liked the material. Really great story about a little boy and his pet alien, of all things, which is like E.T. meets Home Alone kind of a thing. We hit it off, and he was basically asked me, like, Tom, when the time's right, will you help me direct this movie? I obviously can't. I'm laid up in a hospital bed, but can you do it? And I said, absolutely. I'd love to do that for you. And then, unfortunately, about a month later, Kyle passed away, so we didn't get to do that. But now his parents, Vin and Annette, have kind of taken the torch, and they're running with it now. And we have an Indiegogo set up. You can search us on Facebook. If you search Slimebuck, you'll see our page. We put up lots of great content. And we created a short film, and now we're trying to move forward with it and get Slimebuck to the feature film.
Make his dream come true.
Yeah, make his dream come true.
That's really awesome. Didn't you just finish a family film?
Yeah, we did. I've been busy in the editing room with my partner, chopping away at our adorable little family film called Arlo the Burping Pig, which is actually a great little children's movie geared towards little girls primarily, about a little girl who has to move, and she's in a kind of new and unfamiliar setting, and this wonderful little teacup pig, this new pet, comes into her life, and it kind of changes everything. Now, people who have seen my other movies are probably watching this and like, that's a shoot, right? He's joking right now.
Right.
He didn't make a child's pig movie, did he? But the truth is I did. It was my first movie in Los Angeles, and I got a chance to work with some great people. Switzer Entertainment, Richard Switzer is a really up-and-coming producer.
Yeah.
Got to work with David Gears, a producing partner of mine, and John Del Ponte again, and Robbie Savage. A lot of the Rhode Island guys went over to LA, and we kind of all went over there and made this film.
It's kind of cool because you're dealing with, they always say the hardest things to work with are animals and children. So, I mean, that's trial by fire, right? I mean,
Yeah, this movie was, it was almost like a black belt test in filmmaking.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is I came into the game really late. There was somebody else that was supposed to direct the film, and literally like a couple weeks before they were supposed to go, we got the call to go in. I had about 3 days on the ground to pre-produce this
Oh my
movie with
God,
my
to
team.
prep. Wow.
Right, and we shot it in 12 days. And like you said, children, animals, you know, the whole gamut that we ran. And we got it done, and it was almost like all those challenges forced us to raise our game to the point where, believe it or not, I mean, you know, we're pretty young guys in LA
Sure.
for the first time. There was no partying, there was no wildness, there was no crazy, you know, all the crazy
Right,
Hollywood
right.
stories you hear.
Right.
We would get out of set, we would leave the set, we would go back to our hotel room, and we would crack the script open and be like, all right, how are we going to figure this out for tomorrow?
Right.
What are we doing tomorrow?
It really is like going into a war. It's like an army situation.
Yeah, it is in the sense that, I mean, obviously, you know, there are no bullets flying and we're not in serious danger, but
it's a creative war.
You're there, you don't punch out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, you don't, there's no punching out and you're always in it. And it was great to work on that movie.
You're doing it
It's
all.
crazy.
Any advice? So here you are doing acting, directing, writing, all different types of genres. Any advice you want to give to any of the local filmmakers or young filmmakers that might be watching?
My main piece of advice is to not let anybody draw you off the path, because a lot of people, I mean a lot of people, negative people are going to tell you early on, what are you doing that for? Oh, come on, that's a waste of time. You're never going to make it. How are you going to do that in Rhode Island? You're going to hear nothing but negative grief for a few years until you start actually doing something that lands in the paper or ends up on the news or ends up in TV. And then all of a sudden, those same people who were saying, what are you doing that for? He's never going to make it. They're going to be calling you up and they're going to be asking you for jobs and roles and you know, position.
So follow your
just
dream.
Don't listen to any of the negativity and follow the dream no matter what. There's a lot of toxic people out there. Don't listen to it.
Don't listen to the noise.
Yeah.
Tom, thanks so much for coming on Double Feature, and we can't wait to see your next project come to fruition.
I can't wait to make it.